So sometimes you'll read in the suttas that the Buddha will say something like, you know how to bring about wholesome things, you know what causes wholesome things, what makes them arise, what makes them stay. For unwholesome things, you know how what makes them arise, you know what makes them leave, you know what makes them stay. So then you know how to manipulate the states, I guess. How do we do that in our practice?
Well, it all starts really with mindfulness. No? I mean, it can start with so many different things. It can start with generosity, it can start with morality, it can start with meditation practice, concentration. But no matter what, in the end it has to come down to mindfulness, the development of wholesomeness. I think if you read, there's somewhere in the suttas where the Buddha says, if you don't mention mindfulness, you haven't really discussed wholesomeness. No conversation about wholesomeness is complete without including the meaning of the word mindfulness, or without including the word mindfulness, or sati, which, as I've said, doesn't actually mean mindfulness. This straightening of the mind, this is what the Buddha is talking about, the removing of the unwholesomeness, the creation of the wholesomeness, is the straightening of the mind, really. And everything we do, giving charity, is for the purpose of straightening the mind. If it's for another purpose, then it's not really the Buddha's teaching. If morality is for the purpose of straightening the mind, if it's for some other purpose, then it's not really the Buddha's teaching, because these things can of course lead to conceit, can lead to attachment, if done for other reasons. And sati, the remembrance, or the reminding oneself, the focusing in on the ultimate reality and the actual true nature of experience, that is the straightening of the mind. That's the act of straightening the mind, which is really what's meant by that. It's important not to think that we're trying to create something, right? That we're trying to build up a sankhara. This is important to understand. A sankhara is something that is going to lead you away from truth and clarity and understanding. We're trying to bring ourselves back to a non-creative process where we interact with reality rather than react, and we don't build concepts and projections based on the reality. We simply live with the reality, exist with it. So we're not trying to, in that sense, build wholesomeness or actively work to become a kinder person or a nicer person or a wiser person. You can do all these things, but it ends up just being a sankhara, and it ends up just covering up the unwholesomeness, because the mind is not straight. But once the mind is straight, then you can pile whatever you want on it, and it's all going to be straight. You can practice loving kindness, and it will be pure loving kindness. You can study, and you can learn about reality, and it will all be pure understanding, pure learning. You won't cling to it with conceit and so on. So I think simply it comes down to being mindful, which is the straightening of the mind, and that's really the true development of wholesomeness. That being said, we often miss that wholesomeness or this straightening can and should be augmented by things like dana, charity, sila, morality, obviously meditation practice. There are some people who believe that mindfulness is something that you don't meditate about. They actually think it's not meditation, so they won't practice meditation. They'll try to develop mindfulness in their daily life, totally in their daily life, or in regards to their everyday activities. People who believe that it's anatta. I heard one very famous teacher in Thailand say sati is anatta. It's non-self, so you can't force it to come about. You can't work to bring it about. You just have to sit there near him, and he says this, sit near me and you'll develop mindfulness naturally, which is very dangerous, I think, because it is possible that a person could become more mindful staying around mindful people. But it obviously comes much slower because the person isn't actively developing it. So all of these things are helpful and supportive, especially in the beginning, to the development of mindfulness. A person should practice wholesomeness, should develop punya, or goodness, should do good deeds, should help people, should be kind and generous and so on, and moral, and focused and concentrated, because all of these things will be a support for the building of your mindfulness. You should sit down and practice meditation. If you don't, you could theoretically build up mindfulness, but it's not nearly going to be on the same level as if you do actively, create the requisite, or the environment for the arising of mindfulness.
I remembered when you said that, Nagasena, that Samma Vayama is the right effort, is the development, the elimination of the unwholesome thoughts that have not yet arisen, and the making sure that they won't arise again, and the development of the wholesome mind states, and the maintenance of wholesome mind states that are have arisen already. So